So the other game that had one of those late field goal decisions, New England Patriots 33, Miami Dolphins 27. Patriots with their first win of the Mike Vrabel era, and Dolphins fall to 0-2. Another wild game, back and forth. Patriots got up 12-0. Dolphins worked their way back into this, and then both teams tried to win it and tried to blow the game at the same time. Patriots went up 23-20 late in the third, and then a punt return with 7:39 left in the fourth quarter. Punt return for a touchdown. Malik Washington, 74 yards from the Dolphins to go up 27-23. Then the ensuing kickoff, Sam, 90-yard touchdown from Antonio Gibson. Patriots go up 30-27, and then they tacked on that field goal late. Again, a decision we'll discuss here in a minute. Patriots get the win 33-27, and Milton Williams had the game-clinching sack on Tua on a 4th and 12 on their last-ditch effort.
Yeah, fascinating game because like all-time bad vibes from Miami early on. They're getting wrecked again. The first defensive stop the Dolphins got this season was when the Patriots took a knee to go into the half rather than there's like a couple of seconds left.
That's great.
They had given up points on every single defensive drive for effectively 6 quarters until the Patriots took a knee with a couple of seconds left rather than run a play. That's insane. Like at one point they cut to the sideline to Anthony Weaver, and there's just a quick glance. I thought The Rock was calling plays for the Dolphins on the sideline, like the way that Weaver looked at the sunglasses and the bald head and the T-shirt thing, jacked out of his mind. They might have been better off if The Rock is calling plays for the Dolphins. Their defense is awful right now.
So by my quick count here, there was 2 times the Patriots kneeled it out, and so 13 out of 15 drives, I believe.
Yeah,
they've
something like
now
that.
given up points.
Yeah,
if you take out the kneel downs. Dolphins defense.
that's bad. Bad.
It is. We'll start from a New England perspective. They did not love the way they showed balance, the way they ran the ball in week 1 against the Raiders. They came out running heavy, of at least, I think, 4 straight, right out the gate, running the ball. And it's funny because they didn't end up running a ton of plays. They controlled the ball early, but they didn't really run a ton of plays in this game. But they tried to run it. I thought Drake May played a really good, efficient game. Of course, the stat line backs that up. 19 of 23 for 230 and 2 touchdowns. Really effective. I like the way May's run the offense the last couple weeks. I think he's getting rid of the ball pretty quickly. I think the offensive line is looking pretty good. He got sacked. May got sacked 3 times. At least one was on Hunter Henry early on. Travion Henderson, by the way, as much as we raved about him and his pass protection, he got beaten pretty badly for a sack in there too. And then another one where Henderson may have missed the assignment as well. But the O-line itself, the starting 5, did a pretty good job up front for May. And then he did a really nice job too, man. He had a touchdown. They had his running touchdown. They had Matthew Judon. It was some blown protection.
Yeah.
And Judon has just a straight run at him, and May feels it and just outruns him for a 13-yard touchdown or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, May's always been, I think, more athletic than people give him credit for. Even in his college tape, I think that was a pretty consistent theme.
6-yard touchdown, sorry.
Once the guy gets moving, he's pretty dynamic. You just don't expect it, I think, for looking at him.
He's been an excellent scrambler. Last year, he had those ridiculous yards per attempt numbers because they never took a knee, but now he takes a knee, so it affects.
But the Dolphins defense is becoming like the asterisk, in the NFL. It's like they're going to be a get right spot for every offense in football right now, the way they're playing. What fascinated me about this game, though, is that Miami's offense actually got itself together and started to look like it was functioning again. And they even completed a deep pass to Tyreek Hill, and that had been a thing during the week. A reporter had asked him, like, hey, is there a reason why you haven't caught a deep pass in, like, God knows how long it was? And Tyreek Hill was like, are you trying to piss me off with questions like this? Like, the vibes had been bad. And the offense, Tua was playing reasonably efficient. They got a deep ball going. Devon Achane looked fantastic. Like, he was by far the best thing going on this offense or even on this team. And it's like, if they just sneak a win, it's the type of game that can maybe, fix things, right? We feel good about ourselves for a week and let's try and fix the defense during the week. But, like, if they could just get the win, things would be going well. They get the punt return touchdown, which itself was kind of weird play. Like, he runs into a blind alley, gets bottled up, and then somehow sort of spins off the group. And once you get away from that contact, now you've got some space to work with. And then they found a way of blowing it late in the game again. It's like, now did any of the good stuff matter anymore?
Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action. There's elements of the vintage Dolphins offense in there. It took, the first 3 quarters, week 1 against Indy was, I think, all ugly. Tua started to make a couple throws down the field, but you're right, like Tyreek Hill, the 47-yard deep ball. By the way, that was just a heave.
Oh, yeah, and wildly underthrown. But
like when Tua was at his best, he wasn't underthrowing the deep ball by 5 yards, even though we talked about his arm strength. He anticipated it. He got it out there. He threw some nice ones to Tyreek. That was underthrown. But he had some of those anticipation, intermediate routes to both Tyreek and Waddle that showed some vintage Dolphins offense.
It's like, I don't know if any of it matters if they could just find a way of getting a win, and Tyreek Hill would have been placated by the fact that he got a deep ball. It doesn't matter if it was in stride, if it was a bad throw, whatever. He got the pass. He got the thing. He can now tell somebody to shut up when they ask him about his deep production, et cetera, et cetera. Like, things would have been good if they'd find a way to win this game. Instead, they blow it late in the game again. And now it's like, did any of the positivity mean anything because you lost against the Patriots? Like, it's bad. Things have gone incredibly south for Miami in a very short period of time.
I believe that was Tua's first loss against the Patriots, right?
Really?
As starting quarterback for the Dolphins? Or he was at least, maybe there was one last, he was like 7-0 against Belichick or whatever the stat was, for whatever it's worth. But yeah, it's a big one for New England winning in Miami in September. There's not a great history with all that. But I thought, it came close too, right? They had, by the way, the first touchdown to Achane, nice little angle route. He outruns the defense. Achane had a bunch of big plays, and it looked like he did it again. It looked like he had the go-ahead late touchdown, and he just stepped out of bounds. We said, like yesterday, how many games did teams make this comeback, put themselves in position, and then on the final drive, it felt like they couldn't do anything? And in a little different in Miami, they had this one Achane play where it looked like, man, they did it again. It looked like the Miami miracle. Wow, he's running through the defense for the game winner in Miami, but he just barely stepped out of bounds, Achane. And then after that, that was it.
Yeah.
And the Patriots pass rush did a nice job. And if I had to say the subtle differences between this Miami team and what they had a couple years ago, or the last few years when Tua's been out there and they could put up points, the offensive line, I think, is a tick worse. They have some holes, and they couldn't block it up. Milton Williams had the game-ending sack, and Miami's just missing something up front, I think, on both lines of scrimmage, and they're 0-2, and as you said, vibes are low.
The difference really between the teams is the Patriots defense stood up a couple of times late in the game, just about held on, and Miami's basically didn't for the entire game. It was bizarre. You had one bad forced throw interception from Tua, and then you had, again, the 4 inches. Like, Achane steps 4 inches out of bounds trying to make the cut, which did end up working and getting him into the end zone. Those 4 inches end up being the difference between winning and losing the game.
Just wanted to highlight really quick, we talked up Travion Henderson a ton in the preseason. They're not running him much at all. Just 3 carries for 10 yards. He did have the mishap or 2 in pass protection, but he did catch 2 passes for 30 yards. Patriots running backs, Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson combined for 118 yards through the air. So Stevenson had a big 55-yarder on a wheel route, 2 wheel routes to Stevenson and Henderson. Like the way the pass game is looking there, but as you said, maybe it's the Dolphins.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the wide receivers barely featured. Any of them. Keyshawn Butte made a nice play. Stephon Diggs, but the maximum 30-something yards that any of the wide receivers had?
Butte and Hollins each had 1 catch, both for touchdowns.
Right. Kyle Williams had his standard, whatever it was, 7 snaps. We're barely seeing him either. It was tight ends and running backs that made the plays for the Patriots in the passing game.
Last thing I just wanted to highlight was the Patriots had one of those end-of-game decisions, right? So they're up 3. They had a 4th and 2, and they were going to go for it. And once again, I think the announcers are always a little surprised by this move. Why are you going to go for it? You can go up 6. But the Stretch, who's the game management guy for the Patriots, was a spotlight guest a few weeks ago from Ari Meirov. Stretch has been with Sean McVay. He was with Vrabel in Tennessee. I'm sure he had a hand in, hey, you want to go for this. You want to seal the deal on a 4th down. You don't want to go up 6. And then the great Morgan Moses false started. They went from 4th and 2 to 4th and 7. So they had to kick the field goal to go up 6. Again, it all worked out, but you could see where it's an issue, right? You give a team 4 downs.
Yeah.
It's 4-down territory for the rest of the game, and a touchdown ends it, versus if you're up 3, they're more likely to try to kick the field goal, and you still have that 50-50-ish proposition to still win.
Miami have to be hugely disappointed by the defensive front at the moment. That group looks on paper like it should be pretty good, and it did nothing. Zach Sealer, Bradley Chubb, Kenneth Grant, the rookie, Chop Robinson, Matthew Judon, who they signed. Like, they've got players that collectively should be causing problems, and they really weren't.
I mean, I've had concerns about their defensive tackles unless Kenneth Grant was immediately a stud. But the edge rushers, like, they should be creating havoc with the group that they have. So there is talent there in Miami, but weak in some key areas, particularly the secondary, by the way. 13 out of 15 drives that did not involve kneel downs. Dolphins giving up points.
Yeah, that's bad.
Through 2 weeks. Is that it for that game?
Yeah. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?